What happened to every Stranger Things character after Season 5? Vecna is dead. The Mind Flayer is gone. The Upside Down has collapsed. But Hawkins did not stop existing just because its latest supernatural disaster ended. The survivors still had lives to rebuild, careers to choose, relationships to repair, and plenty of trauma to unpack. So, what happened next? 11. 11 helped defeat Vecna, destroy the bridge between worlds, and save Hawkins one final time. Then, she disappeared. As Hopper and Murray prepared to destroy the Upside Down, 11 stayed behind. Before the explosion, she entered the void and said goodbye to Mike. The bridge collapsed. 11 never returned. To everyone in Hawkins, she had sacrificed herself. Mike, however, refused to accept that ending. During the final Dungeons & Dragons campaign, he suggested Kali used an illusion to fake 11's death, allowing her to escape. Mike imagined her beside waterfalls, free from laboratories, soldiers, monsters, and government employees, asking her to save civilization before dinner. The series never confirms his theory. 11 may be dead. She may be alive. Or she may finally be somewhere without a secret facility underneath it. Honestly, she deserves the third option. Mike Wheeler. Mike survived, graduated, and eventually became a writer. Which makes perfect sense. He spent his childhood turning every crisis into a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Demogorgon? Monster encounter. Upside Down? Alternate dimension. Vecna? A dungeon master who clearly cheats. His final story about 11 may not have been true, but it was the ending he needed. Mike also led the group's last basement campaign. When it ended, Holly and her friends arrived to begin their own. Mike closed the door behind him. His childhood was officially over. Will Byers. Will's connection to Vecna had haunted him since the beginning. In the final battle, it finally became useful. Will entered the mental fight against Henry and weakened him long enough for 11 and the others to attack. The bond that had controlled Will became part of Vecna's defeat. Afterward, Will left Hawkins for a larger city, heavily implied to be New York. The epilogue suggested he had found a place where he could live openly. For most of the series, Will was missing, possessed, crying in a van, or touching his neck because something terrible was nearby. Now, he was finally free, and hopefully free from Joyce choosing his haircuts. Dustin Henderson. Dustin graduated as valedictorian. Naturally, he did not give a normal speech. He honored Eddie Munson, defended Hawkins' outsiders, revealed a Hellfire shirt, and gave Principal Higgins a farewell gesture that probably ended his future as a guest speaker. Dustin later attended university about a day's drive from Hawkins and remained close to Steve. Hopefully their adventures now involved road trips rather than flesh-eating bats. Dustin refused to let Hawkins remember Eddie only as a murderer. He carried Eddie's name proudly and turned grief into defiance. He also earned top honors after spending half of high school inside vents and Russian facilities. Excellent time management. Lucas Sinclair and Max Mayfield Lucas survived and remained with Max. Throughout Season 5, he helped bring her back from the mental prison Vecna had trapped her inside. He stayed beside her while she was injured, unconscious, and unsure whether she could recover. After everything ended, Lucas and Max finally had their movie date. The same date they planned before the world decided to split open. Max recovered enough to walk, skateboard, rejoin her friends, and play in the final campaign. Recovery was not instant, but she chose to keep living. Mike's narration suggested they eventually settled together in a small town. Lucas never had psychic powers. He simply refused to abandon the people he loved. In Hawkins, that was a superpower. Steve Harrington. Steve survived. Yes, really, after being attacked, bitten, beaten, dragged underwater, and placed in several suspicious death scenes, Steve remained alive. He stayed in Hawkins and became a baseball coach with Derek Turnbow as his catcher. The job suited him. Steve's greatest talent was never fighting monsters with sporting equipment, though he became alarmingly good at that. It was protecting younger people. He did not end up with Nancy, but his future was no longer defined by whether she chose him. Steve became responsible, dependable, and emotionally mature. The hair remained perfect. Some things are too important to change. Nancy Wheeler and Jonathan Byers. Nancy left Emerson and became a journalist for the Boston Herald. This was the least surprising career choice in the finale. She spent years investigating laboratories, conspiracies, murders, and adults who told her to stop asking questions. Journalism was the only legal profession matching her hobbies. Nancy did not reunite with Steve or remain with Jonathan. She chose her career and independence. Jonathan attended film school at New York University and made The Consumer, an anti-capitalist cannibal movie. Exactly the type of student film requiring a 40-minute explanation of what the cannibalism represents. Their breakup was calm. They simply wanted different futures, which was remarkably healthy by Hawkins standards. They remained friends and stayed connected to Steve and Robin. Robin Buckley. Robin attended Smith College in Massachusetts. She left Hawkins and gained the chance to live without hiding who she was. Robin remained close to Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan, with the group planning regular reunions. Vicky survived, but the finale did not explain their relationship. They may have stayed together. They may have separated. They may still be finishing one conversation because Robin keeps interrupting herself. The answer remains unknown. Joyce Byers and Jim Hopper. Joyce survived and finally received something resembling peace. During the final confrontation, Will weakened Vecna and 11 impaled him. Joyce finished the job by cutting off his head with an axe. No speech, no negotiation, no rehabilitation. Just one exhausted mother ending a problem that had tormented her family since 1983. Afterward, Hopper proposed at Enzo's. Joyce accepted, and they planned to move to Montauk, where he had been offered a police chief job. Hopper had spent years behaving as though his life was expendable. By the ending, he chose a future. He chose Joyce. He chose family. He chose life, and hopefully a department handling parking violations instead of interdimensional murder. Joyce also proved everyone should have listened to her from the beginning. She was right about Will, the Upside Down, and Hopper. Basically everything. Erica Sinclair. Erica survived and helped Dustin with his graduation performance. Her adult career was not shown, but she was clearly destined to succeed. Erica had the confidence of an executive, the negotiating skill of a lawyer, and no fear of insulting people twice her size. She infiltrated a Russian base before high school. Standard exams were never going to be a problem. Holly Wheeler. Holly and the other kidnapped children were rescued. In the final scene, she entered the Wheeler basement with Derek and their friends. They sat where Mike, Will, Lucas, and Dustin had once played. Holly became the new dungeon master. The older group's story ended. A new party began. It was hopeful, although somebody should have explained the family history first. Rule 1. Avoid strange lights. Rule 2. Avoid grandfather clocks. Rule 3. Leave Hawkins immediately. Karen and Ted Wheeler. Karen survived and proved Nancy was not the only Wheeler capable of fighting monsters. Ted also survived. Of course he did. Dimensions opened beneath Hawkins, soldiers occupied the town, and monsters attacked his family. Ted still looked mildly annoyed that dinner was late. The supernatural world could not defeat him because he barely noticed it existed. Murray Bauman and Mr. Clark. Murray helped Hopper destroy the bridge and survived. His future was not revealed. But he probably continued investigating conspiracies and entering buildings uninvited. After years of being called paranoid, nearly every conspiracy he discussed turned out to be real. This probably made him unbearable. Mr. Clark also survived and continued teaching. For years, he accidentally gave the children information that helped them understand alternate dimensions. He believed he was encouraging curiosity. He was actually providing technical support for a supernatural war. No teacher in Hawkins was paid enough. Callie. Callie joined 11 in the final fight but was shot by Lieutenant Akers. She apparently died. However, Mike's theory suggested she survived long enough to create one final illusion, allowing 11 to escape. Whether this happened is never confirmed. Callie may have died beside her sister, or she may have given 11 the freedom neither received as children. Vecna and the Mind Flayer. Vecna was finally defeated. Will disrupted him. 11 impaled him. Joyce removed his head. There was no secret escape. After presenting himself as an unstoppable god, Henry Creel was defeated by friendship, psychic power, family loyalty, and one angry mother carrying an axe. The Mind Flayer was also destroyed in the abyss. Its death, combined with the bridge's collapse, ended the connection between Hawkins and the supernatural world. No redemption, no farewell, no spin-off podcast, just gone. Dr. K and Lieutenant Akers died after 11 turned his weapon against him. Dr. K survived, but her fate remained unclear. Her operation failed. Her soldiers were defeated. 11 was either dead or beyond her reach. Dr. K therefore faced the most terrifying consequence possible for a government official, a meeting where she had to explain everything. The final game. 18 months later, Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin, and Max gathered for one final Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Their lives were moving in different directions, but the game let them say goodbye to the childhood that connected them before monsters arrived. When they finished, they packed away the figures and left the basement. Holly's group replaced them. The ending was not only about defeating Vecna, it was about surviving long enough to grow up. Some characters left Hawkins, some stayed. Some found careers, some found love, some remained mysteries, and somewhere, possibly beside a waterfall, 11 may finally be living quietly, far away from laboratories, far away from monsters, and most importantly, far away from another government employee asking her to climb into a sensory deprivation tank. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more such amazing videos. See you next time.